Your story begins in a small port town in the northernmost continent in Engliria, a small town called Aldenair, whose main form of income is logging and fishing, although sometimes there are large ships that go through for transport. This city is mostly sleepy, though. It's not very big. It's not been widely used in a long time. And in fact, in history, this town has been destroyed more than any other town in this entire republic. But one thing is happening on this particular day that is more exciting than anything else that's been happening recently. A circus has come to town. A traveling circus that mainly goes on other continents has decided to take a ship to this city to expand their horizons. And the city has been talking about it for days, getting ready for its arrival and the people's arrival. The day that you guys arrived, three of you heard of this circus. You had the day to set up your various circus equipment, your tents for your sleeping, the big top tent for the performance itself. And then during the day, before the performance, you guys ran into town and did just a little bit of sightseeing, some errands here and there. And then you helped the harbor master, a human woman named Tara, who had a string of kobold break-ins in her basement. Using your abilities, you guys helped her fend them off and keep her basement safe. And in doing so, she is now indebted to you. You had no reason to help her, but you did so anyway. And she is eternally grateful. That night should have been a happy night of sightseeing in a new town and getting ready for your performance the next evening. But a tragedy happened in town. A young boy on the outskirts of the city had discovered a box of what he thought was normal items. They turned out to be magical items, and not well-made magic items. They were in fact poorly made, hastily made. They were unstable, and they were unsanctioned. And in messing with them, playing with them, the instability became too much, and they exploded in magical force, unfortunately killing him in the process. The town grieved in that moment and was very confused on how this happened. No bad thing like this had happened before, but nonetheless, his parents decided that they didn't want anything to change. They didn't want anyone to mourn too much. They wanted to celebrate the life he lived. And one thing that he was looking forward to the most was going to see the circus the following night. The ringmaster of your circus had actually made a statement to the town that they would that all of you would refrain from your performance in order to give a proper time for mourning. But his parents said, no, we don't want that. He loved the circus, he was looking forward to it, and we want you to hold the performance as you would normally have. And the ringmaster said, we can do that. So they had. The following day, an investigation started into looking into what happened to the young boy, as the rest of the town held a quick funeral service for the boy. And that evening, as the lights dimmed for everyone in their homes, the torches and streetlights around the area where the service would be held came to life. The people, after their jobs were over, carried into the outskirts of town where the circus had set up its big top and little area for the people to work and stay. And outside of this gigantic white and gray striped tent were all smaller tents, some for you guys to stay, and some with small carnival games, a few different food options, just normal carnival going things. And the people of this town milled around and looked inside of it and checked out some of the things on the outside. And then as the night got to sunset, the people filtered into the big top itself to watch the performance hand, while the three of you stood in the back of the tent getting ready for your various acts. As everyone sat down and took their seats, they looked around inside this big top, the seating arranged in a half circle around this circular tent, the back half being cordoned off for performer to stay and to start resetting the various um, platforms and props and things of that manner for the performances. There were sconces and torches lit on the inside to provide light for the people watching and for performers as well. However, they started to slowly dim and dim and dim until they were almost completely out. And then one central sconce, very high up, lit itself and shone down directly into the center of the staging area. The crowd went dead quiet, watching, as a young dwarven woman walked out, wearing black leather pants and knee-high leather boots with a little bit of rhinestone on the sides of them. She wore a white and gray striped uh, long sleeve shirt that had cuffs at the ends, a blue and black bedazzled vest with a very large blue kerchief that hung down, and then a top hat-esque looking hat that made her look taller than she really was, even though she stood at a mere 4.5 feet tall, being that she was a dwarf. She had long black hair that had been pulled back and slicked down her back. She strode forward with her hands behind her back into the center of the stage, and then pulled them out and clapped together. And at once, all of the lights, all of the sconces, the torches flared up real bright, and they got back to their original statement. And when people looked again, behind this woman was a large box, roughly 10 foot deep, 4 feet tall, and 6 feet wide. It looked like it was made out of pure stone, ancient black stone. She looked around the room for a second, looked at all of her guests, and then spoke in a voice that shouldn't be as loud as it actually was. It seemed to boom out from some kind of mystical force. She said, "Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, thank you all so much for joining us here at the glimmering Grey Top Circus. We at the circus do regret the actions of the previous day. We hope that your town is on a speedy recovery. Nonetheless, we will bring you our performances at our best. Our circus will do many things for you tonight. We'll amaze you. We'll make you laugh. We'll scare you. But all in all, you should enjoy yourselves. My name is Natasha Morozova, and this is my circus that I have been running. I am your ringmaster for this evening, and I am your master of ceremonies, as it were. A bit about me, I am a dwarf, as you can see. But about my family, we are what you would call gravekeeper dwarves. It is our job to watch over our ancestors once they pass. I was given such a job when I turned 20. I was set to watch over my grandmother, and I stood in front of her tomb for 2 years. And let me tell you folks, it was boring. Just standing in the same place all the time. So I decided to leave and to travel. But as a gravekeeper dwarf, I was not allowed. So I decided to take my grandmother with me. And she points behind her at the rock box behind her. She says, "This is my grandmother's tomb. I travel with it everywhere I go. It is cut literally from the rock that it stands in, with a nice lid on top." And she begins describing her upbringing in the mountain areas of this very continent where you guys are, a continent called Ichinacha, which has a small bit of land on the front, and the most of it is all mountains. The dwarves call this place their home for the most part, although dwarves can be found everywhere. But she begins describing her upbringing, her life in this city, and as she's doing so, people are enamored with her conversation. Until one person gasps and points, and everyone else seems around this small little girl that points and gasps. They start to look as well, and they see that the lid on top of this little box shifts slightly, and then shifts again, and then starts to move in a solid pattern, making this rock scraping against rock grinding noise. Everyone starts noticing more now and gasping, and some of them yelling out and saying, "What is happening?" Natasha looks behind her and says, "Oh, what is this? What magic is this? What is happening?" And as she looks, the top of the box gets further and further apart, leaving an opening. And someone screams out, "Oh my god, it's a hand!" And you see a skeletal hand come up from the inside of the box and grasp. And then a second hand grasp. And then slowly, this aged and rotted corpse starts pulling itself out of the box. Natasha says, "Grandmother, what are you doing? This is not the place." And she starts backing away. The corpse slowly climbs out. And people in the audience are screaming, and some are scared, and some people are laughing, and they think it's part of the performance, and no one has any idea what's happening. But some people in the audience, who are workers and crew members of your guys' circus, tell people, "Take your seat, it's okay, it's fine. Everything will be okay." The corpse starts lumbering towards Natasha, and she backs away slowly, and she says, "Halt! Grandmother, what do you want? Why must you awaken?" The corpse pulls its hands in this crickety, cracking motion and grasps at its sides, and then tilts its head and starts to shake rapidly and sound like a bag of sticks or a xylophone going together. And Natasha says, "Oh, I understand. You are cold, are you not?" And the corpse just nods slightly. She says, "I can fix that. I can fix that." And she goes inside of her vest and pulls something out, and it looks like a bunch of cloth. And she pulls the cloth out and starts rapidly wrapping the entirety of this corpse until it's fully, from head to toe, wrapped in this cloth, this white and maybe ivory colored cloth. And she says, "Are you warm now, grandmother?" And the corpse shakes its head, and she goes, "Okay, now back to bed with you." And the corpse turns slowly and creaks over to the tomb and climbs back in. And then her, with help from Natasha, pushes the lid back on. Natasha breathes a sigh of relief and looks back and says, "Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry if that scared you. That was my grandmother. Well, that's not the correct word now. That was my grandmummy." And people laugh and guffaw, and people are looking at her like, "Why would you do this to us? This is ridiculous," and it's all kinds of confusing. And she says, enough joking aside. It is time for us to open and start the performances. The first thing that we have for you this evening is something daring, death-defying, mystifying in times. I would like for you to see our wonderful acrobats featuring Zavi. And she bows and walks backwards into the small curtain that had been set behind all the performers, and the sconces all flare back up again and illuminate the entirety of the performing area. And people, before there was nothing except this small box, this box with her grandmother in it. But now there are platforms, scaffolding. There is a large ladder with a connecting piece that has swings across from it, and people didn't see these before. They must have happened while the darkness was happening, while he was focused on the act from the ringmaster. And as people watch, two elves come out from the curtain, and they climb up these ladders. And then a small band starts performing, and some music happens. The two jump at once and grab onto the swings and start doing a death-defying act of flipping all through the air, swinging, catching each other just at the very last moment. But it's all, people have seen these acts before. They want to see something truly death-defying. Well, out walks Zavi, the main member of the act. He walks out, and this particular performer has a prehensile tail, to be noted. Walks out, takes one look up, jumps, and seems to stop in midair, and looks down, and all of a sudden rises quickly into the air above the two performers. They keep their swing act going, and they catch him, and they perform even more acrobatic acts. Zabi takes the opportunity to jump off of each of them back and forth throughout the performance, using his tail and his hands to catch himself. But then there's a moment where it looks like he might fall. They might not catch him in time. He's coming straight down the middle, and the two performers are swinging from either side, and they're supposed to catch him, but there's not a chance they're going to make it. Not a chance at all. And he dives right between them. And everyone starts gasping. He's going to hit the ground. He's going to hit. There's no net. There's nothing there. But then a platform comes out of nowhere, swinging on ropes, and catches him. And then another platform swings back and forth, and 5 different platforms are swinging in rapid directions, moving in angles that shouldn't even be possible based on configuration. But it doesn't seem to bother Zabi. He swings and walks and tells gravity to leave it where it stays. Finally, all of the performers do one more flip in the air, catch themselves, and then do this spin in the air all the way down. But it's almost like they're trying to slow themselves in the air, and seemingly they do. They slow to a small spin before landing on the ground, and showing that they have defeated gravity. They have shown it where they are the bosses. People laugh and clap and love the performance, and then the performers take their bows and walk into the curtain. The next act ends up coming out, and a small staging area is set up with cloth going around it. And some performers walk out, and they go into this platform behind this little staging area and are standing above it and looking down at the area below them. And they start fiddling with things behind them. And these particular performers are all very, very short folks, shorter than the ringmaster herself. These are mostly halflings and 2 gnomes, although upon closer inspection, one of them is not a gnome. One of them is a halfling who is pretending to be a gnome. The halflings all with mutely colored hair and clothes, while the gnome who stands directly in the middle seems to have the brightest clothing and the brightest hair, shades of pinks and purples and bright reds. And she brandishes her hand slightly and pulls it, and while she does this motion, a flute appears in the space, and she pulls it and starts playing music. And the performers on either side of her all pick up little wooden handles, and the staging area opens, and they are all holding puppets. And as she plays music, they begin to reenact this scene of 2 loves who wanted to be together, but their parents would not allow them for various reasons. And but at one point during the performance, one of the performers drops their stick. And it's very noticeable to all the people watching. But their puppet doesn't stop moving. And some folks notice it and say, wait a minute, something's not right here. But the halfling quickly picks up their stick and keeps moving and using the marionette as normal and waving at the crowd and smiling, and the music continues. And another one ends up looking over and talking to the person next to them, and instead of dropping their stick, they just stop moving it and take one hand off and continue this conversation, and it almost looks like they're fighting with each other. And that halfling also does the same thing and turns and starts yelling at that person, and they're both just holding their sticks doing nothing and yelling at each other, and yet their puppets continue to do the performance, acting and talking and moving on their own. At one point, one of the puppets, controlled by one of the people at the far end, seems to notice what's happening by control of the person. They look up and they see the sticks aren't doing anything, and the puppet moves his hand and points, and the others look at it too, and they all grab the strings and start yanking on them to get the attention of the puppeteers. And they finally notice and say, oh crap, and they get back to their performance, and the puppets move on as normal. But again, that fight breaks out yet again, and this time one of the halflings smacks the other one on the head with their stick, and in doing so cracks it, and the strings come undone and fall to the ground on the staging area. The puppet looks down, sees the strings, and looks up and sees the crowd still standing, and the eyebrows do a surprised move before it drops to the floor, pretending to not be doing anything. And with that, the curtains close, and everyone bows, and the curtains rise one more time, and the puppets all look at each other and go, and do this to the people, and walk off on their own towards the side of the stage, while the puppeteers all look and kind of look horrified with one another before embarrassedly coming off the stage with the gnome musician following. Next, a person walks out with only a cloak covering their face and head, and they, as they walk to the center of the stage, they flip open the hood, and it is a very, very old dwarf, or elf, and he tells a story to the people. He has nothing else with him, just his hands and his words, and he tells this story of an ancient family that lived in this castle that was cheap. They actually bought it. They weren't royalty themselves. They weren't nobility. They bought it. And they got it for a very cheap price. And they boasted about it to anyone that would listen. And everyone that would listen told them that castle is haunted. That's why you got it so cheap. And as he tells this story, people begin looking around and noticing that the scene around them is changing, is morphing. They don't see the tent anymore. They're starting to see the inside of castle walls. They're seeing furniture laid out. They're seeing people milling about in this castle talking, this family. It starts off really faint at first, and the more this elf tells the story, the brighter and clearer the image becomes. And he says that this family lived in this house, and at first their life was normal. They lived comfortably, but as time went on, events in the house would slowly shift. Things would go missing. Uh, their clothes, their food, and as people watched, they would actually see items in this story disappearing from their vision. And the children would wake up with terrifying screams and would say they had horrible nightmares. And they said they would see images, they would see creatures and apparitions in their sleep. That they would wake and see nothing. And their parents just believed it's just childhood nightmares. This is nothing to be afraid of. But one day, the husband woke up, and his wife had been awake the entire night. She said that she also saw exactly what the kid described. And as this story unfolds, the people in the audience at the circus are seeing this happening, and they see from the woman's perspective as she looks around her room and sees blood dripping from walls. She sees writing appearing on random surfaces. She sees shadows darting back and forth, and people in this audience are beginning to feel a bit nervous, a bit uneasy about the situation at hand. And the story continues that the husband decided that enough was enough, that he was going to look into this. And he looked into the history of this castle to figure out why, what would it be haunted from. So he searched records, and he saw that there was a doctor that had lived in this house, a medic. And he would experiment on trying to heal and save people even after they had died. He had seen necromancy as some form of late-term healing, but he was never able to actually do anything of work besides just separating the soul from the bodies and leaving them in limbo to stay in this house. Until he himself eventually died by his own hand, hoping that he could transfer his soul and his consciousness to something else. But he was wrong. he had failed. And the people in the audience are watching this happen as though it's a vision of the past. And they watch this aged medic, this aged doctor, end his own life, and then his very essence mixes with the walls of the house. And this father, once he learns this information, decides, I have to exorcise the house. So he speaks to some clerics and devises a way of getting rid of these spirits. And they hold a mighty ritual that banishes all of the spirits, except for one. One small spirit infests the father's mind and tells them that they are not the ones to be feared. They are the ones protecting the people that live in this house. It is the doctor that should be feared. And now that they are not there to protect anyone, the doctor is free to do what he wishes. And after that spirit finally leaves from the force of this ritual, the house itself, the castle, comes to life and begins moving. The walls, the bricks themselves move and creak, and the house, the castle comes to life as a creature. And people in this tent are seeing this happening in real time. The walls start closing in on every direction, and this family is realizing they are going to be interred inside this house. But finally, the cleric that was with them does one last ritual, and it banishes this spirit, and the house, the castle itself, reverts back to normal, and the walls all separate back out. The people that are in the audience watching this illusionary story feel comforted. It's no longer closing in. They see just the tent now. And the storyteller ends with one last statement saying, that ritual that was done on that family those years ago was not strong enough to fully rid the world of that spirit. And he does look for the moment whenever he himself can come back, infest a abode, and take out one last group of people. People such as yourselves. And at that moment, the tent itself begins to turn ever so slightly in a circle as it gets smaller and smaller and smaller. People start screaming and yelling and not knowing what to do. Families hold their children. Lovers grab each other for one last embrace. And then he says, but that shall not happen tonight! And he waves his hands. And everything goes back to normal. The tent is no longer spinning, is no longer caving in. Everyone's safe and happy. And he says, thank you. I love telling stories. And he bows and walks out. The final act comes. And a person walks out wearing a bunch of tan with a large hat, and they have a whip on their side. And they say, ladies and gentlemen, this young human fella, ladies and gentlemen, I know that last story was scary, but how about we end tonight with something that everyone loves? Everyone loves animals doing tricks. And a caged area begins in the platform. And he says, this is for your protection in case our animals do decide to act on their own. Some platforms are brought inside of this caged-in area, and from the back, 2 lions walk in, followed by 2 tigers. And this person pulls the whip, but does not whip them, and just gives them verbal commands and hand motions as though they've been trained. And they jump up on these platforms, they do handstands, they do interesting jumps and leaps, and they do rolls, and they do mock fights with each other. And all the while, the people in the audience are oohing and awing. But something starts to change. It starts to shift ever so slightly. As people are watching, and as this act is happening, it's a situation where the 4 big cats are supposed to be chasing each other in a circle while the tamer is in the middle. People notice that the stripes on the tigers start to disappear, and the whole thing gets lighter. The manes and the lions begin to recede. All 4 of them start to grow and shift, the teeth start to elongate, and they all stop this chase of each other and turn at once and get down low on their haunches and look at the tamer. And instead of there being 2 lions and 2 tigers, there are now 4 smilodons, large saber-toothed cats, and they all look angry. And the tamer says, "Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not sure what's happened. I'm not sure how to handle this." And he reaches for his whip that he had at some point during the performance put back on his belt. But as he does so, one of them lunges and tackles him to the ground. And he screams out, "I need help! I need help from someone!" At that moment, the back curtain, which was still opened to the performer section, flips open, and a person walks in. A rather tall and handsome-looking half-elf, or half-orc, half-human male with gleaming armor and large shield, and he pulls out this brilliant sword and says, "Don't worry, I have this." And he begins defending and fighting off against these 4 Smilodons. They try to come at him from either side, but he knows perfectly where to hit and deflects one's hit and puts his sword between the other two's claws and deflects both at the same time, pushes them off, and this large-scale battle happens between the 4. He never tries to wound any of them specifically, just tries to defend. At one point, grabbing the animal tamer who had been laid on the ground and takes him and says, "You're not needed here," and scoots him with enough force all the way outside of the tented area. He starts getting these 4 big cats somewhat contained and gets them all together in a grouping, and with various slaps of his shield and of his flashes of his sword, he starts corralling them, and they all gather in a place together and go through the back section of the curtains, and the people from the back can hear chains as the seeming unhinged creatures, untamed creatures are contained. The animal tamer walks back out, seemingly okay, with a small shred across his clothing. He says, "I was not expecting that, ladies and gentlemen, but I hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed giving it to you." The half-human, half-orc walks back out, and together the 2 of them take a bow, and they leave. The ringmaster comes out one final time and addresses the audience and says, "Thank you all for joining us this evening. I hope that you all enjoy your time. We enjoyed giving it to you. And with that, we bid you adieu, good evening, and good night." And she takes a bow, and people in the audience stand and clap, and in time start filtering out and going to their various abodes. And now that it is quite late, they all go home and go for their rest. They had a long day. Meanwhile, at the circus, the crew members that aren't performers start tearing some things down and resetting, because there's going to be a second performance the next night for anyone that wasn't able to make this one. And so they start their process of putting things together, and the performers, they go to their various tents to get ready for the evening and relax and decompress after another successful show. But in this moment, we're going to focus on one specific performer. Zabi, the acrobat, is out for a late night stroll, looking for something of his own personal gain, but out on a stroll. Zabi, what is it you're looking for? Is it anything in particular, or just looking?
I'm just taking my way through the town, or through the area around the circus, just seeing if anything was left behind by anybody, anything that seems like it could be of some sort of value, or anything that can be incorporated into any of my acts.
Makes sense to me. As you're out walking, you do find some various bits and bobs that have been left behind. Some small stacks of coin, a few rings even. But as you peruse the entire area outside of this circus area, you eventually get to a side that had the small tents that were built for carnival games and small like food items and drink items. Um, and from inside one of them, you hear talking. And at this time of night, you shouldn't. These should all be empty. But you do hear a familiar voice. You can hear the ringmaster. She's inside talking to someone. But the voice of the other person, it's not familiar. It's a male voice, and it's eloquent and slimy at the same time. The sound of someone who could probably manipulate their way out of any situation or into any situation they want. Do you want to try to get a closer listen?
Yeah, because that's just weird.
Go ahead
I mean,
and
first show, new piece of land.
absolutely go ahead and make a stealth roll for
That will be a nat 20 for a 27.
me. Perfect. You were able to very quietly, very discreetly.
Great first roll.
That's a great reverse roll. You're able to very discreetly and very easily sneak up, not heard by the sounds of the various pieces that are left around, the various scaffolding bits that are put there for the crew, and the grass that's around the area doesn't make any noise as you step forward. And you're able to get a very good listen from your vantage point. From inside, you hear the ringmaster speaking, and she says, I don't know what to do in this situation. They're going to know that box was from us." And the other voice responds, "You don't have to worry about that. You don't have to worry about anything. Weren't three of your crew, three of your performers, seen all day in town? Weren't they seen helping people, interacting with people, and at one point even seen on the outskirts of town?" They were. They were, yes, they were. Zavi and Orion and Kaya. The three of those, I do recall they were outside of town. Perfect. That's that's what we need. Here's what you're going to do, Natasha. The guard is already on their way. They they have deduced in their investigation today, obviously, that these magic items that killed that boy, they came from here. They came from you and by extension me, which we know they did. But they don't know it was everyone involved. All they know that is someone in this circus of yours is to blame. So why not beat them to the punch and blame someone yourself? Blame Zavi and his two friends, Orion and Kaya. Once they're dealt with, the guard will arrest them, and they won't take kindly to a child being killed, so I can almost guarantee they're going to execute those three. And then you're off scot-free, and you can either do another performance tomorrow, or you can leave, and you'll be in the clear. That is a good point. That is a very good point. What what are you going to do? Shouldn't you stay here with us? Oh no, 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 no. I have to go back to Hook Handle. My supplier of these items is there, and I need more, seeing as you guys allowed a crate full to be lost. So that's money that I've lost, and that's supply that I've lost. So I need to get more. She is over there. I'm going to get them. And the less I'm associated with you guys, the better. Because I can't afford to have my part be ruined. Right, okay, the guard is on their way. As soon as they arrive, I will tell them to go look for Zahi and Orion and Kaya. And then the conversation ends. And from your vantage point, you hear the back end of that tent open and the two of them walk out. You are positioned in such a way that when they walk out, they cannot see you, Zabi. What would you like to do in this moment?
And I don't get much of a glimpse of them walking away.
You can see the ringmaster walking towards the big tent. The other person, he walks away from the circus and seems to be going into the woods.
No shadow, just to have an idea of what he is, what he looks like. Just to have an idea, just from.
He's definitely humanoid, not elven. He doesn't have pointy ears. You can see that. Roughly, you can tell he's roughly 6 feet tall. Um, Slender build.
Well, can't see them, can't do anything. I'm gonna go warn Orion. Because I know he's the first one that I'm gonna go to, and then go find Kaya, and we can't be caught. We get caught, we're thrown under the bus.
So, with your roll, I will keep your stealth roll intact. You were able to make your way darting through the various areas. You don't know if anybody else in the circus is in on this, but whatever's going on, but you know that at least the ringmaster is. And so you don't know where she might have gone off to after the big top. So you're able to snake your way through the different areas, and you find a tent that Orion has set up for himself. And you are able to duck inside, and Orion is inside waiting. It seems to be that he's cleaning his armor and relaxing on his cot. And as you walk in, he is there.
Orion, we, uh, I, we need to get out of here.
Zavi, what are you talking about?
I caught Natasha talking to somebody. The whatever happened in town with the kid was killed. It was something that involved her and this other person. They're gonna frame us. We need to leave. We need to get Kaya. They're gonna blame us because we were in town. We need to get her and go. We gotta be out of here before they can find us and realize we're gone.
Wait, the ringmaster is trying to blame us for something we had nothing to do?
Yes, because she's at fault. She's trying to put it on us. You need to get your shit, and we need to go.
Zavi, you sound crazy. If this is just more trouble,
This is not more trouble. I know what I heard. No, well, I didn't really see much, but I know what I heard. And if it is what they think is gonna happen, they're gonna turn us in, so that way they can get away with this, and probably have us executed.
okay, Zavi. Let's say if this is true and somehow the ringmaster's trying to sell us out. What would be the point? What are they trying to hide?
That they are the ones that had that, whatever caused that explosion and killed the kid. That they have that, and probably more, and it's probably illegal because otherwise they wouldn't be trying to hide it. So we need to. I'm not getting caught for this. I'm not getting caught for somebody else's mistake. If
Okay,
my mistake, I'll deal with that.
Zavi, calm down. Every time you go on a rant, you always end up going on for minutes. I'll go with you. If things seem to settle down, we'll come back. If things don't go haywire, we'll lay low. Come, let me just grab my stuff real quick.
Yeah.
Where's your stuff at?
Kaya?
I pop out of the trunk and I'm like, right here. I got your stuff. Let's go.
Kaya, what we had this conversation. You can't just sleep in my room half the time.
I wasn't trying to sleep. I was waiting for you to fall asleep, and then I was going to scare you. But this seemed more important than that.
Kaya, you're the reason why I'm afraid to sleep sometimes, and then I suddenly find you, or some kind of demon apparition with your illusion, scaring me half to death.
Eh, you'll be fine. You haven't died yet.
Okay, okay. Let me grab my stuff. Let's go.
You know,
I'm.
I keep telling him that. It it never seems to get through.
So,
Uh,
are the town guard coming now? Are they on their way? Like, this is immediate? Need to go?
I do not know if they're on their way. All I know is I came over here as soon as they left their tent. They split up. I don't know when they're coming. Possibly in the morning. But probably best to be scarce before they even have the idea of getting.
do I have enough time to leave a note for my dad, at least?
Is there a place that you can hide it that only he would look?
Unfortunately, no. Considering he's not good at getting subtle hints.
No.
But, nonetheless, let's get going.
Don't recommend putting my name in it. Make it seem like you just ran away.
Just you, on your own.
Well, awkward that we ran away on the same night. But, you know, coincidences happen.
First what happened at the bar, now this. Alright, let's go, Zavi.
Okay.
That was not my fault. But anyway, let's go.
All right. So, uh, Orion, you're able to get your stuff together and pack away the essentials you need. Zavi and Kaya, do you have the items you would need in order to starve her away, or do you need to stop at your tents to grab your belongings?
Yeah, I would probably need to get mine.
I don't really have much that I would need to take, so it'd be real quick, just in and out.
Okay.
And also would try to make it look like I was planning to come back. Maybe I went into town.
Gotcha. Okay. Um, so the two of you, would you all, or actually all three of you, would you like to stick together and go to each other's tents, or would you like to separate slightly while the two of you go to your own individual tents and Orion finishes what he needs to do?
Yeah, let's not draw attention to ourselves. Let's all just go individually, all calm and quiet, and meet up somewhere. Oh, you know who likes us at the moment? Kara. I mean,
Tara.
Kara. I should probably not call her by the wrong name this time.
Oh yeah, that's her name. Yeah, yeah. Um, we didn't do anything wrong with it. No. We're good. We're good.
I mean,
Yeah.
she locked us in her
Yeah.
basement, but
Okay.
that was inconsequential.
We should be good. We can. She could help us. We helped her. She can help us.
That's a safe plan. All right. So while Orion is finishing up the items that he needs to get, the two of you, um, are you trying to be nonchalant, or do you want to try to sneak over to your respective tents?
I'm gonna act like typical Kaya, summon instrument, play music the whole way up to my tent because that's just me.
Zabi?
I'm gonna sneak. I'm gonna be try and be unseen the entire night. Like, oh yeah, I haven't seen him since before. I saw Orion. I saw Kaya, but Zavi's been gone for a while. So that's what I'm trying to aim for.
Give me one more stealth
I'll
roll.
sneak whenever I'm leaving my tent.
And that is a 21.
Perfect. You're able to easily make your way to your tent, grab your belongings, any that you need, and then you're able to sneak back if you are rendezvousing at Orion's tent. Um, is there anything you needed to do inside your tent besides grab your stuff? Okay.
Nope.
then I'm going to assume that you're rendezvousing back at Orion's. Is that correct, all three of you?
Either at Orion's or the edge of the circus, like somewhere that would be like a exit way that we all just kind of meet there,
Okay.
unseen.
There's a place that I can imagine you guys would have discussed before you separated. Um, Kaya, at your tent, is there anything specific that you would have needed to do, or is it just grabbing your effects?
Oh, let's see. I've got to get my writing set. I gotta make sure I have my healer stuff. Let's see. My manacles, I shoved them in my backpack. And yeah, manacles. For funsies. And yeah, like my other adventuring stuff. And then I will stealth back.
Okay. So all three of you are able to grab your various belongings, and you meet up in this spot slightly outside of the circus, edging towards the edge of town. But before you guys set off, you hear someone walking towards you from the circus area. The steps are not fast; they're normal paced, and after a few moments, a person breaks through the darkness and is immediately recognizable to all three of you. Orion, it is your father, who is also a part of this circus. And he walks over and he says, Orion, I didn't see you in your tent. I had stopped by just to congratulate you on another performance. What are the three of you doing?
Right now, we're just going out. All I know is something ridiculous is happening, and right now, I just need to keep an eye on these two. Nothing more, nothing less. Don't worry, Dad. I should hopefully be back.
I'm going to worry. I am your father. What, Zavi, what is happening?
I believe Natasha is in over her head with something, and she is trying to put the blame on us.
Does this have anything to do with last night?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because we were in town, showing off what was gonna be happening tonight.
I've had suspicions about
That
her for years, but never had any evidence of anything. Right.
Someone is pushing her to do this.
Wait, Dad, you're serious about this? Why would the ringmaster do anything like this, especially with what happened?
Do you think the circus makes a lot of money?
I mean, we're not the best performers given that, but we're good enough, right?
Have you noticed how? Have you ever thought about how expensive a lot of the things that we have in this circus are? The equipment, the the caravan that we have, even this boat excursion here, this excursion here to this continent, it's expensive. We don't do enough in sales to make sense of how we can afford these things, how we can always have food for ourselves. I've always suspected that there's something else going on, but I thought it was just something simple, just something, some kind of like gambling or something. But if it's something that leads to a death of someone, that's a big deal. And they're blaming the three of you for that. That's Don't tell me where you're going. Just don't. They might have ways of getting that out of me. I won't say anything. Get yourselves out of town. And I will stay here in case I can send word that you're safe to come back. And he looks at you, Orion, and he says, please, please be safe.
No way. You can't. Are you? You can't be serious. Like, this has to be a prank.
No,
Zavi, can't you please tell me?
Uh,
I don't have any reason to believe that
Not a
Zali
prank.
would lie to me about this. To folks he's potentially trying to swindle out of a few coins, sure, but this,
Hey.
I'm going to believe you. Both of you keep my son safe, and you keep them safe.
We will.
Absolutely.
And Orion, should you ever find yourself in Lady's Oasis, the city in the desert, if you ask for Bruna, she'll help you. Just tell her your last name.
All right, Dad. I will. But know this: we never did anything that they said.
I believe you.
We'll try to find a way to clear our names.
I believe you all. Now go. Get out of here. Alright. And he
Zavi,
walks back into the tenting area and leaves you guys to your devices.
You're a good dad.
he's the best. Now, where are we heading? We're heading to Terra, right?
Yeah, the harbor master.
Okay. All three of you are easily able to make your way to the harbor master's office. The docks in the port are very, very close to the edge of town, and so you're able to skirt around the outside of town, avoiding. There are a few small, a few spots that have guards here and there walking about the city. It's late at night at this point. It's almost midnight. There's not a lot of presence outside. Tara's office slash apartment, it's all in one building next to the docks, um, is darker than inside. There are no lights, but she could be sleeping. Um, are any of you looking to knock on the door? Just try it? What's your plan?
I'll walk up and I'll give it a rat-tat, tat, tat, tat.
Okay.
Exactly in my pattern.
A few moments go by, and Tara, a young, maybe early 30s, late 20s human, answers the door. But she's got her nightgown on, and she has shoulder length, sandy blonde hair, but quite tan skin from being outside the docks mostly. And she looks at the three of you. She says, What are you all doing here?"
Oh, hey, can we come in and then we can discuss it?
Are you
Yeah, I don't want to be out here.
are you
I know it's late, but please.
are you in trouble?
Yeah,
In a sense.
but no. Please let us in.
Okay, come on in. And she opens the door and allows you guys to walk in. Um, and then she shuts the door behind you guys. And there's no presence of anyone outside. She doesn't light any of her sconces or lamps or anything. And she says, "No, what's going on? It's so late."
Yeah. So you know how we helped you with your little problem? And we were here for an extended period of time?
Yes.
And then a boy died?
Yes.
Yeah, well, the circus is trying to blame us for the boy dying.
Did you? I don't understand how could they do that? I know that I had you all disposed of that rotted fish outside of town around the time that boy was killed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
someone is trying to frame us, Harbor Master. We're sorry to say that, but we need your help.
And if I say a clergy reference, you're welcome to leave it, because you were in the area at the same time. Right.
And we were seen about town. We were known. So yeah.
I know. I believe that you had nothing to do with this. I believe it with all of my heart. Right. I'm guessing you need to leave town.
Yes.
Okay. Well, there's not much on this continent, on this island continent. There's just one other city that isn't in the mountains. They would check there first. I would wager that you would have to beat the continent entirely. Now, as you guys had walked into her house, even in the moonlight, even though it's dark, you were able to see that there are 2 ships docked currently in the port. And she says, "Look, these 2 ships, both of them are due to leave immediately in the morning, the moment first flight happens. I can get you on one of them. I'll just need to know which one. And then you should be home free." And with that, I think we can hit a little break, a little pause to actually introduce ourselves and do an opening. So, how's it going, everyone? Thank you for joining us. We are the Quaternity of Dice, and we are playing Pathfinder Second Edition for you this evening. My name is Chris Malarkey. I will be your game master or GM for the duration of this campaign. I have been playing tabletop games for, 24 years now? I think I hit my 24 in April. I played all manner, fantasy and some sci-fi, and I'm excited to bring this campaign to all of you. But let's take this moment to introduce our players.
So, I'm Abby. I've been playing tabletop games since 2019. We started with a little home game with just me and one other player, with Chris as our DM, and now we're here. So excited. Normally, I'm partial to a rager, but I'm stepping way out of my comfort zone and playing a bard, and hopefully you guys enjoy her. I'm enjoying her so far with all our playtesting.
Hello, everyone out there in internet land. My name is Jalen J. Perez, and I am excited to be here. I've been playing tabletop RPG for the past 3 years, and hopefully I can bring a nice smile to your face and hopefully some giggles. I'm proud to be part of this cast, and hopefully I can bring a little bit of entertainment and show you the land that we are doing here in Pathfinder. First time player, so don't be too mean on the comment section. But if you want to, you can always use the criticism.
And my name is Brent Andruskavich. I've been playing tabletop games for, I'm thinking about only 2 years now, so still relatively new. First time playing Pathfinder. I can't wait to see what we get into. Playing a rogue, favorite class. Can't help it. But yeah, happy to learn. Anyone who has any pointers that has more experience, I'd love to hear what you have to say. But I'm going to keep learning, I'm going to enjoy the game, and just try and make it fun. That's what we're here for. We're just here to have fun. Hope you guys enjoy what we are doing.
So as I said, we are playing Pathfinder. Specifically, we're going to be playing the Pathfinder Second Edition that has just gone through a remaster over the past year. We're going to be using mostly their rules. Pathfinder is a fantasy role-playing game. The players here will take on the roles of heroes or adventurers, and they have all unique different ancestries. There are tons of fantasy ancestries ranging from the mainstays of human, elf, dwarf, to some that are a bit more exotic, such as Azarketi, which are humanoid water breathers, or Gripply, which are frog people. Even some that are quite interesting looking, like Kashrishi, which are rhino people that have a horn that is filled with psychic energy. But all the players will have control of a character that has a different ancestry, and they will all be playing different classes. The classes in this game range from mainstays like sorcerer and wizard to other things, fighters, rogues, even some more interesting ones like investigator. So you'll see different things as the players potentially change over time, or we get into new campaigns. During the course of the game, the players with their characters utilize different skills, different weaponry, armor, spells to solve mysteries, save people, fight dangerous battles against other people or creatures, and they roll dice quite often. This is one of the mainstays of tabletop games is dice, and that's why we call it the quaternity of dice. With that said, if you are familiar with the Pathfinder system, there are going to be a few things that we are doing slightly differently. First and foremost, we are using a homebrew world of my design. Pathfinder does come included with a setting that they've created, but we decided we wanted to use our own setting because most of us are familiar with it already, because we have played other games with this setting before. It's been adapted for Pathfinder's lore, and actually worked quite well. I'm pretty proud of that. So first and foremost, if you're familiar, you might not recognize some of the names. Well, you definitely won't recognize some of the setting names. But don't be afraid of that. I am going to be making a video series specifically talking about the lore of this setting. This setting is called Engliria. It is a republic with 5 different continents and 1 underwater city-state. And you'll find some context as the players play. I'll have maps pop up on screens at various times, but mostly, if you want to learn a deep dive about the lore, there will be a video series specifically about that. The second thing that we're going to be doing differently is, instead of doing an experience point system, we are going to be doing a milestone system for our leveling, in which the players will level up whenever a major story event happens. Now, with that said, for some of us, this is our first time playing Pathfinder, and so there might be moments where we mess up, or we do a rule differently. We might completely ignore one. But in the moment, if we have to look up a rule, we will take some time and go through the various books that exist and try to find the rule. If we can't find it within a short period of time, I will make a ruling temporarily to move the game forward. And then we will adjust it the next week. We'll come out and say, hey, we messed up a rule, here's the adjustment for it. With all of that said, let's talk a little bit about some social media there, Abby.
So we hope to engage with all of you while we are not uploading videos on YouTube on our social media platforms. They are listed down below in the description. We'll have Facebook, Instagram, X, TikTok, and we hope to talk to you all there.
Okay. Now, back to our game a little bit. So, I am the Game Master, or GM for short. It is my job to keep the story moving, to narrate what is happening, control the NPCs and any monsters or creatures they might interact with, and to give potential story hooks for them to find. But it is not my job to make the story. The players here, with their characters and storytellers, I'm just the engine that keeps the game moving. I am.
These decide the story.
And so, it is my job to make sure that mechanics are being followed, mechanics printed in these books. It's my job to make sure that that any potential things they need answered, I have questions for. But as I stated, it is their job with their characters to tell the story. So before we jump back into our game, how about you guys all describe your characters? Introduce us to who they are, what they look like. So, how about Abby go first?
So my character's name is Kaya. She is a gnome and bard. She's a chameleon gnome, and she has bright red hair that has streaks of pink in it, and she dresses very flamboyantly. She has a coat on that is blue with light blue accents on it and light blue cuffs and collar. She wears a teal ascot around her neck. She also has teal eyes and pink skin. She carries a rapier. That's handle is also pink and purple, as well as the sheath it is in is fully purple and pink. And her underclothes under her coat are a mix of pink and purple. She really likes to stand out. She wears a belt around her waist that has all of the symbols of the gods that she primarily follows. And she wears knee-high boots with a heel, because that's the kind of person she is, that are dark blue and have teal straps. And she likes to summon her instrument and play it from time to time. Oh, and her muse is polymath.
Interesting. Jay, describe your character for us.
Alright. Coming in is my character Orion Thane. His technically ancestry is human, but due to his heritage of being Dromar, that means he is half orc, ladies and gentlemen. So he's coming in there big and green with all the muscles in between. Now, my guy's role is the fighter. So I will be right up in there fighting the monsters, getting punched in the face, hit with acid, various other liquids hitting me directly, piercing me, and trying to kill me in all manners of details. Yay is me. But nonetheless, for my character, he's going to be sporting armor most of the time. His colors are red and gold because he's sporting that Roman color, loving it, with a sword and shield in hand. And he will always be there in the front line defending his friends, and most likely telling them not to do the problems that they caused generally the first time.
Alright, friend. Introduce us to Zavi.
Well, I will be playing Xavier Advani, usually called Zavi. He is I'm probably gonna butcher this, Wajagond Vanara? I don't know if I said that correct, but good enough. He is a rogue. He's a Vanara. He's not really all that tall. Roughly 20 years old. He's been in the circus for 10 years now. And, well, as you can see, that is now coming to an end. But he is a little bit sarcastic. He gets himself in all kinds of situations. And tries to stay calm by using sarcasm to talk his way out of it. Sometimes it works. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes he gets put into situations, as you will probably find out along the way. So, and other than that, he has a prehensile tail. Likes to use that to climb and everything, and it's gonna be fun.
Absolutely. Alright, so, the characters introduced, game introduced, and a little bit of the world introduced. I think we can go ahead and jump back into our game. But before that, if you like what you're watching, if you enjoy us, if you enjoy this game, the setting, anything about it, please subscribe and please give us a like. And as somebody else said, please give us some comments. We'd love to hear anything that you guys want to have to say. If we mess something up, tell us in the comments, and we'll look it up. We'll adjust things. If you generally notice something you really liked, tell us about it. If something you didn't like, tell us about it. Just please don't be super negative to us or each other. So let's go ahead and open back into our game. And we are back with our game. So where you guys left off, you were sneaking away from the circus. You found out that they were going to be blaming you for what happened to that small child in town. You gathered your things together, you gathered yourselves together as a group, and snuck out of the circus, not without a final goodbye from Orion's dad, Tobias, um, who wished you all safety as you left. You made your way to the portmaster of town, a human named Tara, who one of you had helped the day before with the kobold problem. Um, and she told you that she could get you on one of the two ships that are docked outside and get you out of town the next morning. Um, she says, "Well, these two ships. One is going to Scioto in Soriko. The other one is going to Water's Edge in Terra Onta. Um, which do you think you would want to be on? I have to know for the morning so I can get you on one. I can give you my advice on each one, the pros and cons of each one, but the choice is ultimately yours."
Wherever we go, I do not want to go back to Terra Anta. Not yet.
Okay. Well, that gives us one other option.
Historical, considering what my dad said about the city out there, the oasis, we can find his contact.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and pull up a map so you guys can actually see a good deal of what you're looking at. Just for you and for those out. You can see. So Tara looks and says, "So these are the two places that the ships are going. In our republic here, you have a journey from up here in Edna all the way down to Water's Edge in this area. However, the other ship is going here to Scioto in Soriko. Um, one is a shorter trip. This one is shorter. However, this city is much bigger and be easier for you all to blend in with the crowd. This city over here is much smaller, so it might not be searched easily. But Mr. Zavi, was it? You had said you did not want to go to Terra Onta, so I guess my best case would go to here in Soriko."
Yes, I'd rather not be close to family yet, not until we know what is going on.
Might I ask, where are you going? Do you have anywhere set in mind you want to go to? Or is it just leaving here?
Well,
Zavi, what else did you hear?
the person or whoever it was, I didn't get a glimpse of them. They said they were the ones that recommended that we were the ones that took the fall. That they blame us three. That person is going to Hook Handle. They said they had some business because their shipment was lost, or part of it. So they are the one that is seemingly pulling the strings. If we want to get out of this, we need it to be known that they were at fault for this.
So we'd have to get proof from Hook Handle to clear our names.
From Hook Handle or some way of causing them to confess.
Well, if you
We
roll...
don't know who they are.
Sorry, Kai, what was that?
I said, but we don't know who. Well, we know the ringmaster, but we don't know who.
I know the shape of them, but that's about it. I saw the shadow for a bit.
So if you were all looking to go to Hookhandle, going to Scioto here, it's a large port town. There's a huge docking system. And so, one, you could hide out in the crowd, and then you could just book passage directly from there over to Hookhandle, which is up here. You should be able to find another ship that can link you to there. However, if you go to Water's Edge down in Terra Anta, you can travel via land upward to Hookhandle. And you wouldn't have to worry about booking secondary passage.
Yeah, but if they tell the town's guard, they're gonna give our description. Is everyone gonna be on the lookout for us? Because I'd rather go to the least amount of places we can get caught.
I agree.
So go to here to Scioto.
Yeah.
We can blend in, although I don't know how you blend in all that well, Kaya, but sure, we can make it work.
Kaya changes to like normal human color with brown hair and
Kaya, you don't have to change that. If anything, you can change into a goblin form.
Right.
no. Goblins don't dress this nice.
Oh,
But
come
yeah.
on.
I feel we need to make our way to Hookhandle. Rather not, but
So,
before he leaves there as well.
I will talk to the captain of the ship heading towards Scioto, and I will secure you passage on his ship. Did they say they were having gods look for you?
They
were gonna tell them, but we weren't sure when the guards were coming to the circus, right?
Yeah, there was no word of when they were going to. They said that more than likely it was going to come back to us, or to the circus, and then the blame was going to be put on us.
Okay. So here's where we might have a sticky situation. If the guard is alerted tonight, they will start a search for you immediately. I can hide you, that's not a problem. I have a breakaway space in my basement that you can hide in. I use it for stashing things that are a bit not strictly sanctioned. Let's put it that way. I can hide you in there, that's no problem. Where the problem comes is if they suspect you guys of leaving, which they will know you have if you're not in the circus area, they will search the town, and they will come to me potentially and tell me to stop ships from leaving. Now there's a chance that they might not worry about it until the morning, so they can all sleep. But if they think about it this evening, then they'll come to me this evening. I think it's not evening, it's middle of the night. They'll come to me now and tell me to stop ships in the morning. So we must be hopeful that does not happen. So she says, it is late. I must be getting to bed. So I'm going to get you guys downstairs. Do you need anything? The small crawl space is just big enough for three of you to fit. It might be a bit cramped. Although, Miss Kaya, you're not that big, so you might be in luck. Do you need any kind of blankets or some kind of food for the evening before I retire?
I'm well fed. I'm good.
Okay. She takes the three of you downstairs into the basement, and there's one part of the wall that's all wooden. Most of the parts the other three parts are stone, but one part is wooden slabs. And she pulls some barrels away and pushes into the wall, and then a small doorway area pops out, and inside a little crawl space. As she stated, it's just big enough for the three of you to fit. It is slightly cramped, but if it was three folks that were all about 6 feet tall, a normal sized build, it'd be cramped. But because Zavi's kind of slender and Kaya's kind of small, it works. And it's dark. Um, she says, I recommend you not to light any candles or torches or anything. It will be visible through the slats. So just keep dark and keep quiet until the morning when I come back. And with that, she closes the wall behind you as you all climb in. And you can hear her scraping the barrels and moving them to put them back in front of the wall. And then you all hear her walk back upstairs, across the floor, into her chamber. You hear some creaks and groans as she climbs into bed, and that seems to go to bed for the evening. Before we skip to the morning, do any of you have anything you'd like to talk about?
I'm gonna pull out my writing set, and I'm gonna use my backpack as like a prop it up, and I'm gonna start writing a letter, and it's gonna start with, "You aren't gonna believe this," and I'm gonna tell the whole story, and then I'm gonna make a mention of the bookstore that we had gone to and the guy who is very knowledgeable, and tell the person that they should look into it.
Okay. The other two, anything you have to think about or talk about before you retire for the night?
Zavi, do you remember anything about this person that the ringmaster was talking to? Anything at all?
Just looked like maybe a human, maybe like they were a little large, but all I saw was a shadow, and it sounded like a male's voice.
I
Other
don't.
than that, there's nothing.
I don't get it. How long has the circus been doing this?
You don't know. They've been taking money from me. Anytime I get something, they take a cut.
Wait, what?
So rude.
Why have they been taking cuts? They shouldn't be taking cuts. They never even did that with my family.
I knew that they were shady, but I mean, it was part of the act. Like, I make some money. They need a cut. Otherwise, if it's illegal, they may turn me in.
Zavi, you should have said something. I would have at least given you at least portions of my money just to make it even.
No, I was fine. It was part of the act. But they. What was that?
What shady stuff do you think Tara gets up to that she needs this place?
Everyone has their things that they keep hidden from everybody else.
That is
Some people less than others.
Well, considering what she asked us to look into this past week, I can understand. And considering what just happened literally within the past 24 hours, I just don't know. I'm just glad that you managed to tell us something, Zavi.
There's a lot more that hides under the surface that nobody ever sees. You just gotta look harder.
And Kaya, please don't do any nightmares in here, please.
I won't. I won't. We're supposed to be being quiet. Oh no. Aw, man. I wagered with the poppets and then I didn't pick it up.
Oh. They're gonna be happy about that one.
Oh, that's...
Wish I had known this was gonna happen.
I'm gonna scrunch up with my shield and try to use it as a pillow. I'm going to bed.
Alright. Anything else before the three of you turn in for the night?
Nah, I'm just gonna lean up against the side and just quietly thinking to myself about what all's happened. The little things that I stumble upon in this town, as well as what's occurring now, and thinking about what we may have ourselves wrapped up in, and is this really what I wanted to do when I left town? I left home.
Gotcha.
But now I'm stuck here, so I gotta deal with what I got.
Right. So, as you all finally, find some comfortable space inside this little hole, you're all able to get some sleep. But almost the moment you guys all close your eyes, you're awakened by a noise from above you. Very, very sharp knocking on the door, on the main door of the building. For a good few minutes, almost like pounding. And you hear from the chamber where Tara is staying. She rises and stirs, and you can hear her muffled through the floorboards. You can hear her say, "Hold one moment," and she rushes to the door and opens it, um, and you hear her kind of step back a little bit, and then you hear two sets of footsteps walk inside the building. They're heavy, and you can hear a slight bit of clanging, and scraping of metal, as though they're wearing some type of armor. And a voice rings out, and again muffled. You can all hear it though very easily. The voice says, "Tara, we're sorry to awaken you so late at night, but we are in the midst of an investigation, and we have to do our due diligence around town. We believe that we have tracked down and got information about who caused the death in town. We stopped by the circus, and it seems that the ringmaster had discovered 3 of their own had been dealing in some sort of illegal trade. That's some kind of side gig. They were unhappy with how much they were earning at the circus, and used this magical item business to further their coffers. Nevertheless, they somehow must have gotten word that they were found out. And they've fled into the night. We don't think they've left. To our knowledge, these circus folk are not familiar with this city, nor even this continent in general. And so we believe that they are smart enough to think it unwise to leave the town. So, with that thought, it is in our best judgment they are somewhere in one of these houses. Either they've broken in because they are, as they've proven, they are criminals. So we believe they've broken in or are staying in someone's house. We are doing checks in every building that we know they've had contact with. They stopped at the bookstore in town. We've spoken to the 2 who own it. A few of the pubs in town, we've talked to them already. And so we're here talking to them now. Would you be okay with us taking a look around? Not that we're blaming you. We do trust you. You've been our safe harbor master for years, so we trust you. But they may have broken in without you knowing. She says, "Well, I don't have a problem with you looking around. No, it's my own safety is at hand. I did not go to the circus this evening. I had to stay here because I had 2 ships arrive, and so I did not attend. And so if they did sneak in, I would have seen, but still, we would do diligence and check. And the guy that had been speaking, this big man, we would take our time and look around. And you guys can hear them from your hiding hole, moving about the top of the house, looking around in the office space and living space, looking in every surface they possibly can, moving furniture. And then one of the voices sings out, "Tara, what's in this door here? Where's this go?" "Oh, that's the basement. That's our basement. We should check down there too." And so you guys hear the door open to the basement, and you hear steps, very heavy footfalls coming down the stairs. And they get into the space in the basement, look around, and say, "Check the barrels. They might be hiding in there." And they start taking, and you can hear, they don't move the barrels. Instead, you hear this shing sound, and then you hear this like gurgling noise, and you can kind of get the notion they're stabbing the barrels because most of them are filled with fish. Because she does in her side, in her free time, go fishing, and so they're just stabbing in the inside of the barrels, and a few of them she says, whoa, 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 not that one. That one's just regular food. Just open it, heathens. And he goes, yeah, this was more fun. And so they begin cracking some of them open, looking through, and there's some crates down there they look through as well. And you guys can hear they get to the two barrels that are in front of your little hidey hole, and they prop those open, and you can hear sloshing inside of them, and looking around, and hear them scrape slightly and move. And then finally they say, okay, it looks like these are clear. Everything down here is clear. Right. Well, let's just go back upstairs and thank you for letting us put it, Sarah. Not a problem, not a problem. You can hear them head back upstairs. And she says, well, thank you for having my safety in mind. I do bid you good evening. And the guy that had been talking mostly says, you're quite welcome. Have a safe evening. And he starts to leave, and then you hear the footfall stop. Oh, one more thing. The two ships in the dock. They came in this evening, right? Yes, they had. Right. So, with everything that's happening, those two ships are priority. I understand that. So they caused you to miss the performance tonight. She says, yes, I stayed here to help them get settled. I was there. You missed a good show, Tara. Let me tell you about it. Maybe since you didn't get to go, let me tell you about it. And he launches into this description of the entirety of the circus. Every act of it, you can hear his voice changes to that of like a small boy as he's describing things. He's so excited and animated. And the other girl is listening goes, no, tell her about the castle and the tent moving in. And she goes, oh yeah, let me tell you about that. And it's this huge description. And finally he says, well, again, you missed a good performance. Yes, 3 of them are criminals, but they did put on a good show. So, we'll leave you to it. It's the night. Good night. And they leave. And she shuts the door. And after a few minutes, you can hear her go, shit. And then go back to her room and fall asleep. And you guys are...
They just ruined that whole performance for her. What if she's going to see it if they performed again?
I mean, they're going to be missing out on 3 of the best acts. So, I mean...
True. But still, you don't just tell somebody what all happens. Rubbing salt in the wound. Jeez.
Spoiler. Come on.
I like how you guys are taking this situation seriously. Please. Can we just focus on us not getting stabbed through the barrels or the wall? Anyway,
That's why we hide in the wall, not in the barrel.
Anyway, the real question is, where the hell did the freaking ringmaster get that story about the castle?
Good one.
I bet he made it up. Meh.
Probably stole it off someone.
Real? Right. Alright.
Too many details.
Are you all
Alright.
going back to sleep now? Okay. So
I'm
you all
going back to
put
sleep.
yourselves back to sleep very easily and are not woken again until you hear a voice right next to your guys' ears inside of the little hidey hole saying, wake up, it's time to get up. And it's obviously Tara's voice, and she's already moved the barrels aside and has opened the door and saying, come on, you have to move now, let's go. And she climbs back out and starts ushering you guys towards the stairs. I'm guessing in that moment you all take your stuff, get together, and follow her.
Oh yeah.
Yo, yeah.
Mhm.
All right.
Like bats out of hell.
Once you get up to the upstairs portion, you look around and you can see through her windows. It's still a little bit dark. There's the faintest little bit of blue outside. Um, she tells you, I told the ships that they should leave at first light. However, I've convinced this one to leave a little bit earlier so I can get you guys on there faster. Because they might come immediately at first light and try to keep the ships here. But if I can get them gone before they have a chance to do that, then all the better. So let's move. Um, and she opens the door and says, "Hold." And she looks outside, looks around, and then says, "Okay, come on, come on, come on." And she has you all follow her. Um, and she starts heading towards the dock itself, and she stops beside one of the ships. The ship is a large sailing ship. It has 3 masts with 3 large sets of sails on them, and it is currently being loaded. And like, there's some people on there working, looking around, and standing down below on the gangplank, up against the dock, is a pretty tall orc fella. 2 large tusks butting up out of his green lips, and he's wearing very, very elegant clothes. But it looks like they could be made to withstand some hardy, work as well. And she comes forward and she says, "This is Captain Ammon, and he will be taking you towards your destination to Scioto." And he says, "These are the 3 coming with us, huh? Right. Take these," and he picks up a sack each. In one hand, a large sack. Kaya, they're about half the size of you. And puts one on your shoulders, Orion, one on your shoulders, Zavi, and then goes to put one on you, Kaya, and goes, "Not you," and puts it down. And he goes, "All right, you're part of the crew. Get moving in case some guards come. There's some things left. Make your fill, make your work. Earn your keep." And he instructs you guys to start taking some stuff up. Do you accept his terms of helping?
Aye, Captain.
Kaya?
Before Tara leaves, I'm gonna hand her the letter, and I'm gonna say, "Please give this to a gnome. He has blue hair. He's very skinny and very pale. Like, all he does is read books and never goes in sunlight. He's coming through in 2 days' time."
Right, I shall do so.
Thank you.
She takes it and puts it in one of her pockets. Then she walks away back towards her office. The rest of you, you get on the ship. He has you take a couple different loads. Kaya, he doesn't make you do anything. Although he does ask, "You handy with a mop?"
Sure.
"Here," and he grabs one and gives it to you, and the stick is like 2 feet taller than you. And he goes,
I'm like mopping cloud shapes and rainbows.
and like he looks at it down when you do this, and he kind of like, he constantly has this like gruff face. He looks down and sees it and goes, "Huh, I like that. Good," and walks away. And then the moment there's a bit of a breeze, they set the sail, they pull the gangplank, and before the sun even crests over the horizon, the ship takes off. And you guys are sailing away from Alden Air, the city in which you had just had a very successful performance, and where you've left the circus that one of you've been through your entire life, one of you's been through for 10 years, and one of you've been through for 1 year. You're leaving them behind, heading towards Scioto, a large port town on the mostly desert-covered continent of Soriko, the ancestral home of orcs, and the elves have the old elven empire has settled there now too. The journey will take you 4 days on the water. There are reports in the past of this particular swath of water being a large pirate area. But the captain, Captain Amon, assures you that you will have no issues. The boat is covered in a large number of ballista, at least 4 that you can see. And all of the crew members seem to be armed pretty decently. These people are not privateers, they are not pirates by any measure. They are just simply aware of the dangers of ocean-going travel. So you have 4 days on the sea until you reach Scioto. Is there anything in that time that you guys would like to accomplish? Or would you like to just skip ahead to when you arrive?
What was the captain's name?
Captain Amon. Ammon. And he is from the House of Korn. Korn. Orcs in this land do not have traditional last names. They just say the family they hail from. Usually the patriarchs, the House of House of Korn, House of Amon, House of Orion. Right. Go ahead.
Yep.
Every day want to ask the captain if they will teach me how to fire off the ballistas or have someone teach me to do it. I don't expect him to tell me yes, but I'm very eager to learn.
How many times per day do you ask him?
Let's say probably once in the morning, and then I wait a couple hours, and I ask him once in the afternoon, and then before we're going to bed, I'm like, oh hey, by the way, maybe tomorrow you can teach me how to fire the ballista?
The first time you ever ask him, he just shuts you down and immediately goes, no. The second time he asks you, yet again, no. The third time, can I shoot you with it? Can I shoot you off, attached to one of the bits of ammo? Never mind, no. And he shuts it down. The second day that you ask, you don't get as immediate or harsh as a no. You get a no. Then in the middle of the day you ask, it's no. The last time of the second day is no. The third
I'm
day.
gonna be on that one, I'm gonna be we've got 2 more days of this.
And he goes, Tara owes me extra. Third day. This time, he doesn't say no. He just says, I have to check the maps, and walks away. The middle of the afternoon, whenever you do ask, he tries to avoid you first and foremost. He does try, and every moment that you see him for the first part of the day, that part of the time, he is next to the navigator, and as Arceti, female named Cassia, and he tries to use her as a blockade to you talking to him. And then finally, at the end of the day, on that third day, he says, look, we're going to get Soriko tomorrow. Why do you want to shoot a ballista?
So we're starting out on this new journey, and there's probably more water travel ahead of us. So I just want to be prepared to be helpful.
Make a diplomacy roll for me.
Alright, I'm going to use Phase Fortune.
Okay.
Alright, I rolled a 14 plus 7, so 21.
Okay. So he says, "Fine. In the morning, you can shoot one bolt. Good night." And he retires.
I say, thank you so much, and I kiss his hand.
What's that?
I say, thank you so much, and I kiss his hand, because I can't reach any other part of him.
So he is a very deep shade of green, as most orcs are. His cheeks turn a very interesting shade of orange. And over this time, you've noticed that he is not nearly as rough with you as he is with anyone else. It seems that you've warmed a small part of his heart. The following morning, the last day you're at sea, on the boat, wake up bright and early, and he comes and finds you and says, "Come with me." He goes, "I'm supervising this myself. I want to be sure that you are safe, and that everybody else is safe." So he walks you towards one of the ballista, and he goes over exactly how it's built, how it functions. He tells you, you were expecting, I'm guessing, to just, hey, here you go, and be able to fire it, right?
I mean, I've been on boats before, so I imagine I may have seen one shoot off as before,
Yeah.
but
So,
maybe.
regardless of how much you know or seen, he turns it into a huge lesson. And he gets a little bit animated as he's talking about it. And like he seems to take great care in knowing that you actually understand it. Again, you formed a small part of his orcish heart. And finally, he does let you pull the lever, and he finds a nice rock for you to aim at. You're able to hit it with his instruction. I'm not gonna make you roll for it. You just do it. Mission fulfilled. He allows you to shoot a ballista.
After that, I saunter over to Orion and Zavi, and I'm like, don't worry, guys. I can protect us on the boats now.
I'm just leaning up against the wall, just actually sitting on like the floor, leaning up against the wall, just like. Fair enough.
Alright, so that's kind of taken care of. Over the course of the 4 days, the two of you, is there anything interesting you want to get into?
I'd say Zavi would want to help with any sort of navigation or anything with the, I'm guessing it's more of a sailing ship, correct?
Yeah.
So I would want to help out with any of the sails or anything like that because I have the ability to. I can easily climb up there. I can easily do all of that. So that's pretty much what I'd be doing, and then if I get the chance, taking a nap up in the crow's nest.
The bosun is very curious of your ability. The bosun is a fellow named Caesar. He is an Athamaru. He looks kind of like a he's humanoid. He's got 2 legs and 2 arms, and he has a very fish face. And his markings and a little bit of his fins, a very definitive look of a lionfish to him. Same coloration. He almost looks like he has quills, and you kind of get maybe the intent that he does actually have some poison potentially, because he never lets anyone touch them and never lets them brush up against anyone, even in tight spaces. He's very careful about it. But who knows? It's not known if they do have poison or not. Who knows? Anyway, bosun's job primarily is to perform repairs and do general maintenance around the ship and make sure it's working the way it's supposed to, and help with the sail, keeping the ship running. And he and his assistant have a hard time climbing because they're both Athamaru. The other one is more of a angelfish. And for them, it's not easy climbing up. It's kind of tight. But for you, you're able to flip on and go easily up the small little ladders and climbing the poles themselves. And there's a few moments where there's some actual rips in the sails, and they're like, we have to stop, but you're able to, with their instruction, climb up in the middle of running and fix it. They're quite impressed. Um, Cassia, the navigator, is also interested in you because, again, you're able to easily and quickly climb up on top of the crow's nest. There is one on the ship in the middle mast, the tallest one. Navigators use their knowledge of the waterways themselves. They use a little bit of the stars and maps they have to chart courses. They don't actively navigate most of the time. It's more just setting a course. However, there are times that they have to climb up and take a look and gauge weather patterns, current patterns, to see if the tide is maybe working against them or anything like that. And she is not a big fan of heights, and so she doesn't like going up herself to check. But you are, and so she uses your assistance quite often. And at one point in one of your meetings, after you help her, she asks, "Are you interested in any kind of navigation training? It's something I could help you with if you want to take some starter courses. I mean, I don't know how often you're going to be on the open water, but I can help."
Wouldn't hurt. I mean, I do seem to have a knack for it. And I mean, I would like to know where I'm going and not just go in circles.
Yeah, absolutely. So over the course of the time, she's able to give you a rudimentary, detailing of how to plot courses. And she even teaches you how to extrapolate the data for land based on star patterns. And so, yeah, I mean, you're able to. We can talk about the mechanics of this, but you actually might have a little bit of skill, a little bit of bonus to your rolls for any kind of check to see if you can orient yourself out in the wilds. Besides that, anything else you'd like to accomplish over the 4 days of travel?
No, just gonna sit and think about the past few days of what we've gone through, and yeah.
Okay, perfect. Orion, anything you'd like to accomplish over the 4 days of ship travel?
Alright, Orion's gonna be sad on the first day. He lived his entire life with the circus, so right now he's gonna dwell a little bit on what happened and how did he get caught up into this to where he even wished this was all just an elaborate prank, but in reality it's what it is. So he's gonna be a little bit sad, but then he's gonna focus on seeing he can to do his job and try to help out on the ship. And the way he's gonna do that is to try to see if he can help fix the ship in case there's any small broken patches or anything like that in repairs. Something to keep his mind off of the fact that he just left his home that he's forever known his entire life, where his entire family and even the best friends that he met are now just separated. But right now he's with Zavi and he's with Kaya, so he knows he's in good hands. He just wishes that his dad would be safe.
Absolutely. So, just as much as Zavi, the bosun would be interested in you as well. If you're offering to help with some of the things around the ship, he's more than happy to take it. There's always something to repair. Always. You're running with a crew of people constantly in motion on the ocean, and it makes a lot of rough things happen to a ship. Things on the outside of the hull, you might have to lean over the ship slightly to fix on the middle of the water, or on the inside, minor patch jobs. People have their cots break. People have the sets of stairs going to the lower parts of the ship. Something's always needing done, constantly. The biggest thing is the captain is very particular about the helm being painted. He always wants the helm to be a very, very particular shade of green. and they have tons of paint in this boat to make that part green. But if you've ever spent any portion of time on seawater, it rubs paint away bad. Makes it fade, makes it turn all kinds of the colors, makes it rub off, and so it needs painted at least once a day, just to keep up the nice green color. So that's always a constant thing you can do. But you're very effectively able to keep yourself busy the entire time. Besides that, anything else you want to accomplish over the 4 days?
He's gonna try to think about everything he's ever done with the circus to see if he can, because he remembers what Zavi said, and he's gonna try to remember if he ever met this man accidentally that kind of seemed humanoid, or if he knows anything from what Natasha said, especially back to the days when he was younger.
Make a society roll. We'll do some recall knowledge. See if you remember that voice ever being a thing. It's going to be a high difficulty for the roll, but
And that will be 17.
17. You have the vague suspicion that you've heard that voice before. That you've heard that voice somewhere in Alderney, the continent across the river, where Hookhand is, where you're attempting to go. As you know, your guys' circus travels all the way around. There's a moment in time, and now that you think about it, it actually was quite close to Hookhand, where you heard that voice before. And it might have been maybe 4 years ago that you heard it. But no face to go along with it. Although the back of the person, you could tell who it is. And from looking at them walk away, they wore very elegant yet tight-fitting clothes, and they had a rapier strapped to their side. Their shoes were. Most people wear high-end shoes, like like almost like boots, but these were not. These were very, very free of the ankle, and looking at his build, from his legs down or like waist down, you can tell that he's got very strong lower portion of his body, so he might be pretty quick on his feet. And but the most striking feature that you can remember about this fella is his hair. It was very tightly slicked straight back. Ears, you could see, they were human-shaped ears, but his hair was straight slicked back, and it was platinum almost. Like a, not gray, like an older fella, but like such a striking blonde that it almost looked platinum or silver. And this is a fella that he was rich, he knew it, and he knew that you knew it, and he didn't care. But that's all you can remember about it.
Orion's gonna give this information to Zavi and then to Kaya when she's not annoying the captain. And try to ponder about what else he can remember. If not, he's gonna focus on his work and try to help out around the ship and try not to be a nuisance.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, you guys are all able to accomplish those events. You've all made some friends on the ship, if you want to call them that. During the course of your journey, you do end up finding out the name of the ship as well, because there is a moment in time where either Orion or Zavi has to lean over the side of the ship to fix one of the letters that have been painted on it. It is the Gliding Lady, and the captain will tell you that's because she glides on the waves like a proper lady. But nonetheless, you guys on the fourth day, about halfway through on the fourth day, you see land on the horizon. and they start calling it out and getting the ship prepared for the landing. Um, and you see the landmass of Soriko come into focus, uh, getting closer and closer to the port. You can see to your left in the land portion just endless dunes and desert. Um, the city shining out like a jewel in the desert. There's tons of buildings. It's a very large city built on the very edge of the desert region of Soriko. Um, and the port is home to at least 24 ships already docked, with more coming in and out of it. Um, and as you guys finally get to the dock and the gangplank is lowered onto the wood itself, um, the captain looks at all of you and says, "You don't have to help us unload. I know that you're not actually crew, but should you ever need us again, please come find us. We've grown attached to you all. The first time you ever require us to be free of charge. After that, we'll charge you. Let's get off. And you are free to disembark." As you guys all get off the ship, you can see that people are milling about on the docks themselves, and there is a gigantic wall separating the docks from the city itself, and it goes all the way. But there is a gateway going into the city itself, and there is people at this gateway, and it seems to be they're checking for your manifests or for your personal documents, what have you. It's the only way into the city. It's not a heavy guard presence. It's more like just people checking stuff. It's just clerical work. And everybody's going that direction or coming from that direction. I'm guessing you guys are going to follow the crowd. Okay.
Yeah.
There is a big enough crowd that you guys just mix right in. There's tons of folks. You see all walks of life on these docks. Other Venara, other gnomes, other Dromar. You see a few centaurs, a few humans, elves, every walk of life on this place. And as you guys get into a line heading towards the gateway system, you can easily tell they're checking documentation, and you guys do have documents about yourselves, just saying who you are. But they're not really. It doesn't seem like they're checking that wholeheartedly. They're just glancing at you and okay, whatever. It's more like they're looking for the official seal, see if it's real or not. And as you get closer and closer to the people in charge of this, just like you thought, they take a quick glance at it and say, "Okay, good." And it's easily able to be noticed. They didn't even look at your names. They didn't even care. They just looked at your symbol. In the city itself, things are different. You'd be expecting a lot of folks, a bustling city with folks walking and milling about all over the place, but that's not really happening. People look down. People look like they're just kind of trudging and not, doing with gusto. The people walking into the city are doing that way, but people leaving the city, you get the notion, thinking back as you were going through the gateway, that they didn't seem excited to leave. They seemed like it's weird. Something's weird. But nevertheless, there are numerous people around. If you could, there is on the immediate notion on the inside of the gateway system, there is a large building with a sign saying Harbor Master's Office and Gateway to the Waters. And this is where you can charter another ship out of town if you want to go somewhere else. Otherwise, you guys are free to find an inn to stay in. Whatever you would like to do at this point. So, what's your fancy?
Well, how quickly do we want to leave the city?
If he was traveling to Hook Handle, we probably don't want to get there before him. I don't know how he was traveling, if he was traveling down here and then over to there, or if he had his own ship. Which then I question where he docked at, but that's beside the point. So, however, he's making his way over there. We probably don't want to be there before him.
So maybe stay a night or two.
Well, first we had to check out the ship schedule and check out the manifest to see where each ship is heading first. There's no guarantee to see which ship heads to automatically hook handle. It may be where we have to drop off at a location and do some footwork. But we first have to check out the ship manifest. And the second question becomes, what money do we have on each other?
I say I agree with that. We should see what ships are leaving when, and also if we can find out who is captain of the ship going to hook handle, maybe, Kaya, you can work your charm like you did before, or maybe I can convince them, or Orion, you can convince them to give us a ride because we're down on our luck or something. Just to get out of there as refugees almost.
I can for sure do that.
That way we may not have to even pay for travel, or at least have a discounted price.
Okay. Well, is that your guys' course of action? Is to go to the office and see what you can find and when?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah,
Agreed.
and then find a
So
place.
and find a white what?
And then find a place to stay.
Gotcha. Okay. Okay.
I'm not sleeping in the streets again.
Right. So whenever you walk into the office, uh, it's kind of busy-ish. Some of the folks on the inside and the workers look like they're kind of rushing, but they have that same general sense of lethargic, trudging that everybody else has. And they're all sweating profusely, except for the main person who seems to be in charge. They are another Apamaru. Uh, it's definitely a male person, and they have the sense of a clownfish about their appearance. And they just look wet because they're just wet. They probably took a dip a little bit ago to keep themselves hydrated. But they seem to be definitely the one in charge. And there is a line queuing to talk to this person, and you can see they are setting up, ship travel for other folks. Um, as you guys get in line, you hear general murmur from people around you, just talking about, I can't wait to get out. I can't do this anymore. It's just not worth it. It's not. And just that general sense for most people. You hear a few people talking about, uh, you catch a conversation of someone saying, I can't believe there's someone doing that. With all that's going on, they're going to do that too. I don't get it. Not really much context of what they're talking about, but just get the general sense that something's going on in town. Finally, you guys are able to get to the desk and talk to the harbor master. They do have a nameplate on the counter, and the name is Atticus Marcellus. Uh, uh, they look at you and say, "How can I help you?"
We were wondering when the next ship, or at least like in the next couple days, if there's a ship going to hook handle.
Let me see. Let me see. And he starts flipping through a book on his on the a notebook on the counter and flips through and takes a couple different names and goes, "Yeah, yes, I do have a ship heading to Hook Handle. The next available that isn't full will be leaving in 8 days."
Okay. What is the ship's name?
I see. Uh, this one is called the Crown's Foil.
How much for passage?
Well, let's see here. Let's see how far the distance is there. Uh, I'd have to actually talk to the car. The distance. I'll give you a roundabout figure. 12 gold per person.
12 gold per person. Do you have any cheaper options?
Swim.
How tall is the counter?
Probably 4 feet tall.
I'm gonna tug on Orion and be like, Orion, pick me up. Yeah, pick me up.
I pick her up.
Why is everyone so sad here?
I'm guessing you're not from here, right?
Nope.
Everyone's just hot and dehydrated. We have a really bad water shortage. Really bad.
Is that always the thing? Or just
No.
recently?
Recently. We don't have water to drink. We don't have water for crops. We don't have water to put out fires.
If we could help with that, is there any way we can get a free trip?
I mean, you know what, young man? Sure, I'll pay your way. You can figure out why our river dried up.
Your river dried up?
Where do you think we get water from? Yes, there's the ocean right there, but it's seawater. It's salt, so you can't put that on. You can't drink it, and you can't put it on fires. You'd make things worse. There's a river that flows from the oasis in the desert and goes right to the south of the city and then empties into the ocean. 6 weeks ago, it started to get lower. And over the weeks, it has gotten lower and lower until 5 days ago, it just stopped.
That's a...
Is there like any paper and like a quill on this desk on the counter?
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna take one and I'm gonna write on it, will pay our way if we figure out why the river dried up. And then I'm gonna put and turn it over and be like, okay, I need sign this please. I need it in writing.
Make a diplomacy roll.
It's a new day, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Face fortune.
Oh dear God.
Let's see. Oh gosh, that didn't. A 7 plus 7, 14.
He goes, well, I have no faith that you can figure this out. They sent a team out days ago, and they haven't come back. I promise you, I will give this to you. But I have no faith they're going to do it. And he signs. He does sign. He says, we should have had people looking into it sooner, but due to other events in the city, the guard presence is not high enough to warrant sending further teams.
Well, they may have sent people before. Didn't send us. and we will solve this.
Fully. Right. Sure. You figure that out. You get back to me. Next.
We'll do. Orion, put me down.
Alright.
As we walk away, I'm just gonna look at Orion and kind of be like, wait. What do we just get ourselves into?
Apparently, it looks like we're finding out the reason of a water shortage where an actual river, dried up.
At least you can say I didn't put us in this position. I nudged us, but I didn't put us in this position.
There has to be a reason. This
Just
is
what?
unusual. There has to
Yeah.
be a reason. It's unusual. People wouldn't be upset about it if this was a common occurrence. They'd be like, oh, that's what happens every time of the year.
But
Yeah,
we could have
not
just
normal.
found like a day job or something just for the next couple of days just to make the money. It didn't.
I have 2 gold to my name. 2
Can
gold.
you repeat that? I think you cut out.
Who, me?
Yeah.
Oh, I said to make 12 gold per person. And right now I have 2. I have 2 gold to my name.
Then I don't have any. Zavi?
1 gold, 11 silver, and these 2 copper pieces.
We need this.
You can increase that by you did find some stuff as you were scouting out around the
Oh yeah.
circus the other day, so you can add that you effectively found 7 copper, 3 silver, and 1 gold.
He says 7 copper, 3 silver, and 1 gold.
Yes.
Zavi just intentionally left that out and didn't tell us that's money he's hoarding to the side.
To be fair,
No,
that
that's
messes
my
personality.
mistake for not remembering to give that to you before you left.
But where would we even start to look into this problem?
Well, we
The
have a dry
river.
riverbed. Let's go. Let's just walk.
At this point,
I
I
will
should
play
point
the
out to you
walking
guys,
too.
it is probably equivalent to about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Just so you guys have an idea what you're looking at.
Orion. Who did your dad say to talk to?
Uh,
Out this way?
in the city
Bruna?
of the. Wait, say that again, Kaya. Kaya, I didn't hear you.
Wasn't it Bruna at
Yeah.
Ladies Oasis?
Yes.
Wait.
Let's go.
Wait.
She's at the Oasis?
Yes, that's where the river actually flows through from what the harbor master said. So if we follow it straight from the source, we can at least ask her and see if she knows anything about there. So we do at least have a contact. My question is, how far from this place to the oasis?
You guys can actually get a more defined look at where you're at. So this is the continent of Soriko. You guys are here in Sayota, and as I said, there is a river that runs southward in the south of the city, and runs all the way to the oasis. And this city being Ladies Oasis.
So it's 28 miles, if I counted right. Because I counted along the river. Because they're right there before.
7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So 4 times 12.
4
Oh, wait.
times 12 is 48.
Yeah, I got way wrong. I was off by 20.
Yes, each of the hexes is 4 miles.
We need to find a way to get transportation. Because I'm sorry, I ain't walking that distance.
Barbara, can we walk in a day? Do I even want to know?
You
How
cannot
far
make
what?
it in
How
8
far
days.
can you walk in a day?
Depends. What's everyone's speed?
25 feet.
25?
25, yeah.
So all three of you are 25. That means per day you can all travel 20 miles.
Like halfway. So it's like 2 days. A little over 2 days. I did that math correctly.
So, I mean, we could do that. We're definitely gonna
Yeah,
need
you could
some.
walk it.
We're definitely gonna need
We
some way
already,
to in the elements because it is a desert.
It's gonna be
well,
hot.
we already still have supplies right on us, still from the circus and everything else. The only thing I would say is we just have to make sure we dress lightly, or else we'll be overcome.
There definitely are hazards for the temperature that you will come across in the desert. As stated, it is quite hot. So that is something that you can look around town and see if there are some folks that sell lighter gear for you to have on you. Uh, if you want to find something else to try to do around town, that's a possibility as well. I
And
think somebody
the,
actually asked about it.
we need to stay warm during the night because it can get very cold overnight.
That's the other end of it. Here, the desert conditions. Um, I'll tell you guys. Anyone would be able to tell you throughout town. You can get up to temperatures of during the day 120 degrees, and at night you can get down to roughly 30 degrees.
So yeah, we need the proper gear to be able to travel to the oasis. So I would say we need to find someone who sells gear to go to the oasis. Maybe strike another deal with them, saying, "Hey, we heard what's going on. We want to help. Can you help us out? Because we need to make this trek, and we either lost our gear or we just came unprepared to buy the stuff as we
Any
go."
any one of you that would like to can make a society roll and recall some knowledge. And if there's a specific DC I'm looking for, that if you guys hit, I will tell you something.
Who has the best society?
It's not going to be me.
Any or all of you can do it. It doesn't matter as long as one of you gets it.
All right.
I got a 13. Oh, sorry, 12.
I had a 10 plus 2, 12.
19. I actually rolled a 17 on that one. Society is plus 2, so
19.
19.
All right. So while you were talking to the harbor master, you can recall that he said, due to the other thing that's happening in town, guards are a bit sparse checking into the water. There is something else happening in town you might want to look into. Potentially. If
You
you
think
want to earn some money.
there could be a law trouble around this town?
Oh yeah, somebody said, I can't believe someone is doing that.
We might want to go to the sheriff's office, or at least the or at least whoever's in charge.
We can do that.
Is that what you guys want to do?
To the city guard.
Okay. A quick walk outside, you actually can find a guard eventually if you do a bunch of looking. It's not too difficult to find them. And Are you looking for any old guard, or are you looking to go to like specifically to the law master's office?
The lawmaster or commissioner?
Is that what you guys want?
Sure.
Okay. So if you ask them, for directions, they direct you to the center of town, and there is a large keep called the Garanda Manor. Um, Garanda being elf for grand, and it is a huge, uh, huge Gothic style manor um, that does have some very lush gardens into it, but they were once lush. They look a little bit wilty now, obviously due to the lack of water. Um, once you enter into this building, there is a clerk who is on the inside at the desk, and um, they ask, "Can I help you?"
Yes, we're
Anyway,
here to see the lawmaster, or at least the commissioner. We heard that there might be some trouble in town.
ah, yes. Let me get to one of the officers. And this young lady is a halfling, very small, Kaya, shorter than you. Um, she jumps down off of almost like a high chair, and runs off, large feet, barefoot, padding on the ground as she walks away. And she comes back a few minutes later with a person who is in full armor with a sash across with the Sayota city symbol on it, which is um, a statue with two spears going across it. Um, and they are an elf, um, a female elf, and she comes up and she goes, "Hello, my name is Hana. I am one of the officers of town. Can I help you? I see you've been summoned."
Yeah, we heard that there was something going on other than the water situation that you might need assistance with.
Well, we don't often ask outsiders for help, but I actually don't think that could be a bad idea. Come with me to my office. Um, and she escorts you through the keep, through different halls, through the manor, I should say, through different halls, and she stops at an office with her name on the door and ushers you inside. And it's a very, very nice, opulent office, but a little bit scattered, it seems. There's her desk is full of notes, and she sits down and shuffles slightly to make sure her armor isn't too kinked. And she says, um, we have the water crisis going on. We could look into that with more guards and teams of scholars, except we have something else happening in town here that's expensive. Um, Someone or some group is vandalizing memorials across the city. And we don't know why or who it is. And that's a lot of money. And to give some perspective for you guys, Sayota is the home of statues. So that's like slogan is. That's because this city is filled to the brim. Almost every corner, every road, everywhere has some sort of memorial to the Great War. Everywhere. Um, there are thousands. Maybe not thousands. Maybe hundreds, maybe a little bit over 1,000. So it's an expensive deal. She says we've been going on for weeks now. We don't know why. But we're trying to put guards on these to keep track of them, but there's not enough to go around. And then we have this water crisis going on. We can't handle both, while also maintaining our proper duties around town. We're spread thin. So, yes, if you want to help with this, if you want to investigate for us, feel free. And she takes out a quill and she writes down a notice, and you get 3 of them, and signs them, and takes the seal and rubs underneath it for a second, and it gets illuminated with a little bit of magic, and stamps it. And so they are magically enchanted to be sealed with Siota seal, so it's official. That no one can copy it. And it's a notice deputizing you guys to look into this and to provide help wherever you should need it. She says, if you guys can help in any way, shape, or form, we will try to compensate you appropriately. I can't give you a figure now because I don't know what I'll be allocated. But if you come back maybe tomorrow or maybe even this evening, I can give you a figure of what we can do to help. But that would be appreciated. We don't want to see these memorials be destroyed. So, that gives you guys 2 things to get started into to look around. You know, you have a water crisis, you have a vandalism crisis going on in a town full of people that aren't happy to be dealing with this problem, and a system of guards that is not equipped to handle 2 things that are this scale at once. But I think that at this moment it is a good point to put a hold and come back next week. What do you guys think?
Agreed.
Sounds good.
All right, everyone. Thank you guys for watching with us. We hope you enjoyed the first episode of our Pathfinder series. We're going to be calling this Tales of Engliria, Campaign 1. If our group somehow gets themselves a name, we'll call it the name instead of Campaign 1, but if they don't get a name, great, we'll just call it Campaign 1. But Tales of Engliria is our series. We hope you enjoyed watching us play. Anything else? Anybody else have anything to add?
Like and subscribe. But
All
no,
right.
seriously. Thank you for watching.
Great start to our series. We look forward to much more. Thanks everyone for watching.
Stay tuned for more videos, and good night.
All right, good night.